Making scripted videos on your Mac. If you want to make high quality videos for social media, doing it all on your phone can be pretty awkward. So today I'm going to walk you through how to produce scripted vertical videos on your iPhone using your Mac and iPhone together. Sorry, we were just trying out Discord, so I just had a bit of a backstage thing on Discord, and hopefully Discord didn't disrupt my video feed today. But yeah, we're live on YouTube now. This is Square's TV App Lab number 102, where we talk about ways to improve your remote communication abilities. I'm Michael Forrest. I make Video Pencil, Shoot, and CueCam Presenter, among other things, which include all this kind of madness. I haven't uploaded anything to this for a while. But yeah, let's talk about some updates first. So, first thing is, big news is I've started the webinars. So we had the first EU session on Monday. It was a bit quiet, but I think it was a little bit useful to those that joined. And I'm hoping to sort of bake in the format as time goes on. But it was kind of it was hard to sort of commit to a time, hard to sort of get all the stuff together. So if you're interested in that, we just hang out, have a little exercise, a little presentation exercise, turn off the microphone for a bit, work on a little thing, and then we sort of present at the end. And we don't even have to do any feedback or anything. It's just if you have questions, if you're not sure how to do something, I'm there to help. And it's just a sort of safe place to try out CueCam. If you're interested in that, go to cuecam.app/youcan. It's called YouCan Present, you see. And also, if you want to know what goes into making the countdown timer, so there's this countdown timer on the website and in the app that shows you when the next one's starting. And I sort of did this 25-minute devlog today that sort of goes into detail of how that works. So, with anything like this, I tend to turn it into some sort of technical problem for myself, and I just thought it'd be neat to have a little countdown timer and sort of maybe remind you that it's coming up and in a sort of human way. But yeah, when it comes to sort of showing it within the app, showing it on the website, and also having the right time zone in the email that it sends out, that's a whole thing. So if you're interested in that, that's on this channel, and that's the sort of 4th devlog if you want to see that. And of course, I shipped a big CueCam update last week. So that was every update I'm I just want to do a couple of things and then ship, and then a month goes by and I haven't shipped. So I shipped a new version of CueCam, which has a surprising number of things in it. So if we just hop over to Discord, we'll just go and you see that was the remnants of our video chat before. Here's some stuff that was in there. So now instead of now it had a sort of record multiple layers option in the record button before, and now it's got, let's see if we're going to be able to, if I'm going to be able to do a quick demo of this stuff as we go. So the record button now has, you can click record separate layers, and then you can choose which layers you want to record. You can also turn on the summarize with ChatGPT option there. So this is some good stuff, and I think I just hallucinated a chat message sound effect in my earphones, so I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything on chat. So that's the first thing. The other interesting stuff, I will just come out of demo mode, I think. Other interesting stuff, I was tagging files in a way that was then sort of incompatible with Dropbox, so I changed that. I'm showing those upcoming webinars. I've got the ability to add, so I'd sort of removed the audio. The dashboard used to be the way to add extra audio inputs, and then I removed the dashboard, but I hadn't put in the add in extra inputs, which is now in the menu, where it used to be sort of on the sidebar. Now when you share your screen, it will kind of if you're sort of cropped into a screen share, and I'll sort of simulate it by saying okay, so your desktop looks like this, and CueCam will it can sort of draw a box around what you're sharing, but now in this area underneath, it's going to actually put your teleprompter text. So if you've got a deck where you're jumping around a screen share and you don't want to have to keep looking back to your script, you can actually sort of read. You can make yourself lots of notes down there so that your presentations are even slicker than they would have been. So what else have we got? Siphon feeds were upside down because I'd only tested them with one thing, which was my own app, and I changed it the other way. But I was trying out VDMX, and that siphon feed was up. I was like, oh, I must have just done it upside down. There was some stuff with green screen and vertical video. In the camera previews on cards, that's now that sort of looks right, a bit nicer in vertical video, which is partly something I'm going to be able to show today. There was some, I had audio warnings. So if you've used CueCam and you've used the teleprompter, you'll know that if you go too loud, it's going to sort of like put a little orange outline or a red outline to warn you that things are too loud. But in the last live session, well, recently I changed that to just be the mic. I was like, well, you just need to know about the hot mic, and it's a bit annoying how whenever you play music or anything that is going to be mastered a bit louder, it's always kind of showing you this warning. So I sort of made it just the microphone so that I wasn't going to clip the microphone. But then last time when I was live, I just noticed whenever I went into some audio, it was a bit too loud, and I wasn't really like thinking about that. And so I thought, well, false positives are better for that. So at least if I can see, okay, watch the volume levels, even if it's often like not necessary, useful to be reminded that I need to just check that, even if it's actually going to be fine. I am worried that my mic level is looking a little in the blue today. Is it maybe I need to like make sure it's a bit more exposed. Yeah, let's got it back in the green, even though it maybe looks a bit goofy now. What else? We had some crashes. Oh, now you can make it 60 frames per second, which you couldn't before because I was doing some stuff with that. I tried, but basically a lot of this I was trying to work on the little glitches in the transitions, and I have to admit, like I still haven't got that perfect. I feel like I'm going to have to do some more foundational stuff to get these transitions absolutely frame perfect, unfortunately. So it's sort of like, it is what it is for now. In future, I will tidy it up a lot more, and just I need to sort of like re-architect how it really renders everything, just to give me a bit more control over everything. There was some stuff with, here's a handy little hint. If you, like, so in the share bar, if you pick something, it's going to save it as the default share. But now if you don't want it to like remember it, you can just hold down the Option or Alt key and just select it, and then it won't like save it as the default share. So that's just like, if it's just a useful little thing sometimes. If you don't want it to keep like remembering the last thing you did, it's quite a handy little thing to have. I made it show the card numbers a bit more clearly. Switched some keyboard shortcuts around to make them a bit more logical. Added like some more deep links, surfaced a few more deep links so you can sort of find them more easily. And a major thing I did was in the document editor. If we have a look at this, so basically can you see that? Sorry. Let's make sure we're in demo mode. So this is the design system select picker in CueCam, and before it was a little bit, so there's a document one and there's a card one, like configuration for, well, there's no slide on here, so it's not showing it, but they were a little bit inconsistent as was pointed out on Discord, and I've just made, now this is the same component on cards and on the document. So basically when you override the styling, it overrides all the settings instead of just like some of them, and they're different per card, different per document. And so that's consolidated now, and it does mean now you can change the font per card for the first time, which I quite like. I think that's quite cool. And yeah, I added in a little onboarding step about just to tell you Shoot and Video Pencil exists in case you weren't aware. And there was a bug where, like, with their sort of iPad preview, there was a bug where you couldn't type characters. So if you wanted to do like an accented E in 2 keystrokes, it would just swallow the first one. So that was fixed. That was an email I got. And another thing is, just to make everything more consistent, now when you share an image, if you share the same image twice and you zoom to different levels on the different slide cards, then it will smoothly transition between those 2 things. And that just meant that I could do like a little, here's my code, and zoom out a little bit on the next card, and look, here's the comment above it that says this is a hack. So that's sort of like the stuff that's in CueCam, and if you haven't updated, then just launch it and like just check for updates, and that should be there. So that is that's the updates for this week. I don't think there's anything. It's funny, it's every 2 weeks, so like a lot happens in 2 weeks, but also sometimes not that much happens. Hi Tony, and hi Dan. Right, let's talk about TikTok. So how do you make a scripted TikTok video on your Mac using CueCam and Shoot? So producing and editing videos on your phone can be pretty awkward, as I just said, especially if you want to plan what you want to say in any detail. And I think that's the difference. Like, some people do brilliant stuff on TikTok just using the app, and they'll sort of stitch it together from a lot of little bits. And I think it takes a long time, and you're not really getting any sort of prompts there. So I think you're sort of having to learn your script as you go along and that kind of thing. And so I think if you do want to be able to like put out more videos and be more articulate on camera, you sort of want more of a teleprompter system, and typing on a phone is horrible. Have you used the iPhone keyboard recently? I just can't type anything on that keyboard. Since they tried to make it all like machine learning-y, it's just it's terrible, isn't it? So yeah, I just want to be on my Mac if I'm typing a script. So CueCam Presenter is a Mac app, the Mac app I'm presenting on right now, that works with your iPhone and iPad to script and record videos. You can record in TikTok's vertical format using your iPhone as your camera and your teleprompter. So I'll show you how that works now. You can use a green screen, share websites, add titles and graphics, and just basically record everything sort of in camera, and then you've just got a video at the end. So you're not having to like record it and then put it together out of components, add a share, add a layer, do all that video editing stuff. You just sort of like run through it, and it's going to be a lot more natural. So here's how to get started with that. So the first thing you want to do is set up CueCam. So go to cuecam.app/download and just download it from the website. So CueCam is distributed through the website, and it's sort of like sold through the website as well. And then to install Shoot, you install a camera app called Shoot Pro Webcam on your iPhone from the App Store. So just search for that, or there's a menu in CueCam that will kind of take you to the right place. And then to make vertical videos, we need to go into the output menu in CueCam and choose output size and shape vertical. And so that's going to turn everything into a vertical format. And something to be aware of is, if you've already got a script in horizontal mode, one of the beauties of the way CueCam works, which is it doesn't make you lay out slides and drag things around. It means that if you do switch it between formats, it's still like got a good layout, because we're not like hard coding that sort of like horizontal layout in the document. So then you run Shoot on your phone and select it as your main camera in the live camera window in CueCam. And so that's now, so your camera is going to be there. You're going to see Shoot as an option. Also, when Shoot's connected, you're going to see it in the menu bar up there, and you can adjust your settings in Shoot. You see this setting, which is, send camera feed to Shoot will that will put whatever you're sharing or whatever you're doing on the phone screen, so that you can sort of see everything in the right place, and that's going to send the virtual camera by default. If you want to do video calls, you can send like a Zoom call and stuff. Here I've got some presets, so they show up in Shoot in this menu, and then you can sort of like zoom it in. That's really handy, just being able to crop in a little bit, and that's something you can't do in continuity camera. You've just got to move the whole camera to change the framing. And then you've got some like ISO, white balance stuff there, and so this you do want to be on the front camera as well for the whole teleprompter thing to work. And if you probably just, there's a big auto button if you just want to go back to defaults as well. So that's probably going to be the best option most of the time. The only time that you do want to lock the ISO exposure stuff is if you are going to be moving around, and or like, I don't know, like if the lighting changes, it's going to sort of keep adjusting. So you sometimes it is just better to lock down those settings. So, but you've got that choice in CueCam. Now you want to make sure that your audio is in sync, and that you can do with the delay calculators, which is built into CueCam. So what you do is there's on the microphone. So here in this menu, there's a delay calculator option, and that gives you, it will say now clap, keep your hands together, and then it will pop up this window which has, you can see the waveform, you can see where you clapped, you click on there, then you find the frame where your hands come together, and then it just gives you the delay, so you can sort of get everything perfectly in sync. Sometimes an issue depending on your microphone, camera, iPhone combination. This just lets you make sure that it's perfect. So once you've sort of got those basics done, then you can start writing. So the way that works, you create a new document in CueCam. This is going to be a video script that controls your teleprompter and brings in any other content that you want to share. So think of it as a sequence of cue cards with notes that you can read without breaking eye contact with the camera. So you've got your phone here, it's showing your teleprompter, I'll show you that in a second. It just means you can sort of write up a script and basically sort of like, it takes a bit of practice, but you're basically reading off a script or reminding yourself of the things that you're going to talk about. You don't have to sort of write everything verbatim if you don't want to. I find it quite useful sometimes to, I switch between both. You know, I'll have my, like right now, I've sort of got my, I've got the thing I want to say, but then I'll kind of embellish it, you know, in the moment, and that sort of, I think, makes things feel a bit more natural. And you can just always, and this way you can sort of stay looking at the camera the whole time, you're sort of like looking down at your notes. And then for best results, this means like your cards should be quite short so that your eyes aren't going to move too much as you read them. And so on the phone, there should be a picture here of this somewhere. On the phone, you can pinch to change the teleprompter text size. But it depends how close you are to the phone and like how much text you really want. So in this case, you see I'm sort of like not putting too much on each card. And then that means that as you're going through the cards, you're sort of showing different things. I've jumped ahead a bit here and shown some like pictures and things, but just think of each of these. This is just a cue card, cue card, cue card. And you just want to be like adding those in. And just like the keyboard shortcut to know there is Command and Enter. So the, can I draw the Command key? So this plus like the Enter key is going to give you a new blank card, and that's just like where you kind of want to live when you're writing a script in CueCam. And if you, another option, and this is something I do, like if you do want to do your initial planning outside CueCam, I would recommend Apple Notes, which makes it very easy to switch between your phone and Mac, and the iCloud thing actually works there, and you can paste in graphics you want to use as well. So I would say, like, if you're not quite ready to kind of go into a sequence of cue cards, write it in Apple Notes, and then when you copy and paste that into CueCam, you make sure you're not in a card text field. You click on the card, press Escape, then paste. Now it's going to break it up into cards based on if there's two line breaks, and it's going to bring in any images as well. So that's a really handy way to get a document started. So I kind of made that when I was at a conference, and I was just like making notes, and I knew I wanted to talk about this stuff, but I just was on my phone, so I sort of made all my notes, took pictures, added those in, and then to sort of present about it, all I had to do was just copy and paste that into CueCam, and I had a presentation like there already. So that's just really useful to know. And the next thing I wanted to just talk about, you know, what are you going to write? And really, what's going to be engaging? You want to be thinking probably in terms of story. And I say this, I don't know how good I am at telling stories, but I know that this is what would make it more engaging. So here are a couple of concepts I found useful in storytelling advice that I've heard. So first, if you're aware of Dan Harmon, he's got this concept of the story circle, which is kind of something that he talks about it sort of works at the scale of a TV episode or a single scene. He'll say like, so you start out in, you know, you've got your status quo situation, something isn't right, they sort of like end up, you know, being pushed out of their normal life, searching, trials, you know, like you overcome a challenge, and then sort of you pay a price, and then when you sort of return back, but now you've changed. So the circle is I was me, and then I had to change, and then I sort of came back round a new person, and then, you know, the sort of wheel can continue to turn. And so, you know, like that seems pretty abstract. But another piece of advice I have heard in terms of storytelling is you might be tempted to think of yourself as the hero of the stories you're telling. But if you're making content to help other people, then you've just got to remember they're the hero and you're there to guide them. So you have to sort of like put them in that hero spot, not you. A shorter way to think about this is in terms of two components. You've got your aspiration, and this was from Max Miller, he told me this one, and your struggle. So there's vulnerability in wanting something. So, you know, the hero's journey, like there's that, oh, I'm in this status quo, but I want something and something has to happen. I have to overcome a struggle. So then you can just sort of apply this to any video by just thinking about, do you want to do X? And then it's hard because of Y, that's the struggle, and then you can solve it by doing Z. So this is sort of like a really good little tight loop to have to sort of like get people interested. Okay, what's the thing? What's the aspiration? What's the struggle? And then here's the sort of resolution of that. So just think about that. if in doubt. But and then, you know, you can always like throw something. You can always like throw an AI at this these days, but like you're going to get pretty turgid stories out of an AI because it is autocomplete, right? So it's going to do the most predictable thing. There's no way around it. So don't try and tell a story generated by an AI. Like that's never going to be interesting or entertaining. But it can be a good way to like shake the cobwebs off and realize what you want to write. Like just to have something on the page that's bad, which you can either write yourself, that's another thing, just write anything, have that on the page, and then you know what's wrong with it and you can start working on it. Another, which isn't in my deck, another piece of advice is always write a whole draft in one go. Right? Don't like start it, get halfway through and then go away and try and come back to it the next day, because you're going to basically be starting from scratch all over again. So you need to like finish a draft and then rewrite the whole draft, because otherwise you're just not in that space in the same way. So these are all my little storytelling tips. These are all my sort of creation tips that I can offer. Let me know if you've got your own ideas in the comments. You know, you can do all that. You know, what you think of those things, if you've applied any of those things, if there's anything I haven't thought of. Now, you've got your little script, and you don't have to, you know, I would say pretty early on have a go at recording just to kind of get a feel for what it's like working with CueCam. So you're going to select your first card and click the recording button in the CueCam toolbar. And what that's going to do is, right, so here, this is going to put your, I don't like how wonky this looks, but here is your script here. So let's use this. So here's CueCam on your Mac. We've pressed play and now it's showing you that first card. You can see what's coming through from your camera over there, right? And then this is your phone, which has got, here is your teleprompter. So you see that's like right up next to the camera of the phone is actually here, for some reason on the other side to the green dot. But you've got this, you can sort of see that it's connected to CueCam by this red thing. And then I took a picture with my iPad, so it's a bit weird looking, but I didn't know how else to show this. But yeah, on your phone is, yeah, it's using it as a camera and it's showing you your teleprompter. And then you're just going to press, you know, the right arrow on your keyboard to step through your script, or just click anywhere to step through it. I really like the arrow keyboard, and that's kind of what I do, even though I've got a Stream Deck as well. Like I just like being on the keyboard because it's nice and quiet. And then when you're finished, just hit stop in the toolbar and a button's going to appear that says show file, and you can go and have a look at what that recording is. So CueCam has this editless video production philosophy with an idea that it's easier to record another take of your video and get it all in camera than to edit together from multiple takes and doing a lot of post-production, which if you've ever tried that, you'll know it's like, it can just take a lot of effort and a lot of time and be a bit punishing. It's just much, and you're going to just get more natural results if you're kind of doing it all in one go, I think. And so you do that preparation, that script writing. It's also like means that you're forced to actually think about structure, think about what you're going to say before you just jump in and start talking, which I think is probably a more common way to use TikTok and stuff. So yeah, we do our production in camera, and then so we're just preparing everything in advance, and that means that we can like do a take and we can be editing and iterating, and then still we've just got one take to deal with at the end, and literally you just got a file you can trim and upload, right? And that's just a dream compared to the other ways of making videos for me. So if you want to start adding content to your videos, I've already spoiled this a little bit, but you can attach images, like a website or maybe a video. I feel like they're the most common things that you might want to add in TikTok. Oh, look at this website. What are they saying? Oh, here's a picture that I just want to use to illustrate something. Or here's a video. I said, oh, look at this guy saying this stupid thing. So CueCam, but just to sort of warn you about CueCam's editor, it's not amazing when working in vertical mode. So the picture-in-picture shows a little circle in the corner, and it's a little bit messy in vertical mode. And this is the video cropping is a bit weird as well. So if you want to like see what it's going to look like, you just sort of press present on the card and just see what it's going to look like. And I am in a state of brainstorming how I'm gonna like consolidate all of this rendering and presentation stuff, because it's done in quite a lot of different ways at the moment, and I've got problems with transitions, I've got problems with preview, and like it's not showing the camera LUT in the preview and all that kind of stuff. So I've got all this stuff going on, and I'm just trying to come up with a really solid way that's gonna bring it all together and help me delete hopefully thousands of lines of code as well. It's okay, but for now, just like press present on the card, and you'll sort of see what's going to actually go into the camera. And you can also, like if you're cropping and stuff, you can do it there and save it to the card through that editor. So to share an image, there's two different ways CueCam presents images. You can either build up a slide. So when I show you like a card of things slides out and it's got like an image there, that's a slide, and you can sort of add text and do stuff like that. Or sometimes I'm just bringing in a big full screen image, and that puts you picture in picture. So it's two different ways of doing things. So to create a slide, you're just going to drag an image into the text field area of your card, and to share an image full screen, just like drag it onto the main bit. I sort of want to make it so that if there is a slide, that when you drag it into the sort of slide area, like under, if there's some text here, at some point I'm going to make it so if you drag it in there, then it knows that it's the other kind, and then if you drag it in this bit, it goes into the background. But you know, we're just like tweaking the user interface all the time. So, and you know, you can always crop an image by pinching on your trackpad. Or actually, if you've got video pencil, you can do it on your iPad, or you can use your mouse wheel. You can just like zoom in on an image and crop it out, and that is especially important in vertical mode, because it's gonna, I think by default it's generally gonna sort of stick the image like that. So you're gonna like want to you know, scale it up so it's, you know, I guess, you know, so you can choose a bit to crop it to by just pinching to zoom there. And if you do, you know, I mentioned this before, if you did want to like show two different parts of an image, you can just duplicate a card with an image in the background and then just pan to a different bit, and then when you present that, it's going to transition smoothly into the other one. To share a website, you can click Add Card in the toolbar and select Share Website. I should probably do a demo of this stuff on a blank script, but I'll tell you it. Well, why don't we go back and I'll kind of show you this stuff. So I'm going to go New Document, I'm going to go Demo Mode. So what did I say? So to share an image, let's see, we're going to see what images. I've got this squashed picture of my face, which is sort of like been sitting. You see, I did not really prepare any images, but I do want to show you some stuff. What's this? I'll show you a baby picture. Okay, so if you drag an image here, and if you see that it's like, it's your key, so you see when it goes hold for options, that's going to be a background image. And if you're just sort of there, it's just going to go into the card. So you see that's a baby picture, it's gone into there. We can sort of like kind of make that wider or narrower. But if we drag the same image, so if I get rid of that, if we drag the same image into here, now it's a full screen image, and I can pinch to bring that in. Obviously I'm in horizontal video because I'm presenting in horizontal mode, but that's kind of how you work with images. And then, as I say, like you can duplicate a card to sort of bring that image again, and then if you sort of zoom in to a different bit, that's going to be in two different zoom levels, and that's going to transition smoothly. I'm not going to do it now because I want to stay on my script. To share a website, you can click Add Card up here, and there is the share website option there. Or you can just be on a card already, so Command Enter, add a new card, screen, share website, and then that's going to sort of add in your default browser and sort of give you a box that you can paste a URL into. So that's that. And if we just come out of demo mode, and I shall continue. Yeah, here's I did have a picture of the website showing. So here's how to share the website. And you see I'm in vertical mode here. It's showing my default browser, which is Arc. And I'm sort of putting in that, you know, I've copied that from my browser to be able to jump to that page. And it's going to do two things when you land on a website share. It's going to share your screen isolated to your default web browser, and it's going to load the website you want to share. This works particularly well in Arc browser because I've actually done some Apple script stuff inside to make sure it reuses the same tab every time. So it just doesn't, and because other browsers it's going to probably spawn a lot of tabs and get a bit messy. But I didn't like that behavior, so I figured it out for Arc. I just think Arc kind of looks nicer when you share it as well. You can sort of see it's got quite a nice. It just looks quite neat. It's just got this thin border on it. So yeah, I tend to favour it. You can, again, you can use your trackpad to crop in. And so what you're seeing here is I've cropped in CueCam, but this overlay, my face here, is being added by CueCam when your web browser is in focus. So you can see if you're in the way, right, of the thing you're talking about. Because you could be talking about something back here and you might not realise, and then you've got a bad recording because, I was blocking the thing. So what CueCam does is it does a load of these little tricks just to make sure that, just to keep you out of trouble when you're doing a live recording. And this, I think, is one of the best things. So this is just it puts your overlay so that you know exactly where you're going to be in that frame, so you can sort of point at the right place. And also it puts the teleprompter text down there, so you can sort of if you're looking at your screen, you can still see what you were going to say about that thing. And then to share a video, you've got two ways you can share a video. You can either use the website sharing feature to share a YouTube video or TikTok video, or you can drag a video into the card in CueCam and just share it directly. And there's different situations you might want to do those things. So follow the website, do the website sharing thing, and when you present, the audio is going to be included from the YouTube video. So you can quickly see if the audio is coming in too loud and then adjust that in your browser, or the CueCam has the little kind of audio control in the bottom that you're going to be able to sort of adjust your screen share volume as well. So that's just something to be aware of if you're sharing a browser. But I find usually if you want to share a video directly, you can just drag one in from your desktop. And this is actually usually, I find, a better way to work because it avoids ads and branding and all that stuff that's going to happen if you share a website. And there's an app called Downie, D-O-W-N-I-E, that lets you just it's a Chrome extension or a browser extension that you can just download videos from YouTube or whatever. And what I've got here is, you can see I've downloaded this video from Pexels, right, of a wind farm. And what you're seeing here is, this is again part of these preview problems, but you see there's a sort of border around that where I've cropped it into that part of the image. And then what else? I've also set it to loop. So I just thought, heck, wouldn't it be cool to have a windmill going in the background as I do my outro or whatever? So that's how you can do that. You drag the image in, you can zoom in on it, and then loop it or whatever you want to do with it. And mute it as well. I think that's supposed to be muted. So I don't know why I have just ended up back there. Did I come to the last card? No, I did not. So, and then maybe it jumped back to a thing. Maybe it thought I pressed stop. So then this is a video showing kind of what that looks like. I should probably hide myself. So here's me green screened onto the wind farm doing my little presentation. So and then it's just really rinse and repeat. So you've got everything you need to record videos on your Mac. You know how to set up your phone as a teleprompter, write a script, add images, videos, and websites. So all you got to do is just record something, see if it sounds all right, rewrite, try again, rewrite, and then when it's good, just airdrop it to your phone, upload it to TikTok. So I'm going to say I would recommend, you don't have to get everything perfect in CueCam, because you can do a little bit of post-production inside the TikTok app, because it's quite easy to trim down a video. So if you've got 2 takes that you want to stitch together, just send them both to your phone and then load them both into TikTok and just trim it. That's fine. And then you can also use TikTok's caption generation if you want to add some captions, because CueCam's not really going to give you that. And you can have the sort of titles and things if you want to jazz it up even more. So I would say do a little bit of post-production in the app just to make it feel a bit more native as well. And if you when you are recording, there is a little feature in CueCam that lets you mark your takes. So it puts a little kind of green or orange tag on the file, so it's easy to find the good ones. So I use that. If I'm kind of going to end up doing a lot of takes, I'll kind of like mark in green the ones that were good, and then it's easy to kind of find those in the list once you kind of come to edit them. And if you do want to get more advanced and edit in Final Cut Pro or DaVinci or whatever, you might want separate video tracks. So you can tell CueCam to record separate layers. This is a Pro plan thing. This isn't on the normal one. And just sort of get your video pencil layer, get your unprocessed. If you want to use your main camera, anything you share will be a separate layer. Slide text and graphics will be a separate layer. So you can sort of like tidy up edits or like add things in, or like, you know, you've got full control over everything, and it's recorded in pretty efficient format. So I just kind of like leave it on, and it doesn't seem to be bloating my hard drive too much. So that's how I'm recommending you make TikTok videos using CueCam. You can try CueCam for free at cuecam.app and just download it. You don't even have to sign up, register, or anything to give it a go. And then, but then, you know, we've got all these other things that you know, I've got all this other stuff I'm doing around it. So make sure you're in the mailing list. Make sure you're registered for stuff, because I'm doing all these things around it to try and make, because it is a novel piece of software. So I think like I need to be there to kind of like help you through the philosophy of it, as well as like just make sure that I've not missed anything stupid. And I'm often like, I will be helping people use it and I'll realize that there's a way it could be simpler. So, you know, I'm here as part of the product. So that's that. All right, we are back. So yeah, thank you for watching. You can come and find us on Discord. There's over 300 people. I don't even know. I've been saying for ages there's over 300 people. I actually used the little video chat feature today. We had a little pre-show chat. I might just sort of start coming on half an hour early so we can have a little yammer, because I kind of missed that from when I was doing this on After Hours. So come and find us on Discord. And yeah, I will see you next time. And I just thought tonight I am going to go to some music today, I think. So what we're going to do is pull down the screen, show you what's behind here. I'm going to lower my standing desk a little bit. And I am going to add in, I'm going View, Add Audio Input, Zoom L20 Driver, and hopefully you can hear whatever's coming through here. And so I'm just going to like muck about on the piano for a bit and then say goodnight. So let's see what we've got. I'm going to sort of turn this off and on again, just get a blank slate. Sorry if that was unpleasant. And just go.